A lot of news in the tech world today. Let's start there with Google down again after yesterday's sharp sell-off, down about 4% on the week, following the DOJ's push to sell its Chrome browser. And then there's Amazon. News was out just a short while ago that it's upping its investment in Anthropic to bring it to $8 billion total. We've got our reporters on both of these stories. Kate Rooney with the Amazon and Anthropic latest. Deidre Bosa has more on that deepening partnership impacting Google. And BofA Securities, Justin Post, has more about the industry impact and what this all means for the stocks, for the Mag 7, maybe for the startup landscape. He's the senior internet technology analyst. Welcome to all of you at BofA. Kate, kick things off for us. What do we know?
Yeah, Kelly. So big news this morning. It's another $4 billion investment into this AI startup, Anthropic. It's a rival to OpenAI. You've probably heard both of these names at this point. It brings Amazon's total to $8 billion. That is by far one of Amazon's biggest outside investments and venture investments. One takeaway is this recognition that Amazon seemingly cannot do this alone. So Gene Munster, for example, has been in the camp that Amazon has been behind at points in AI. He says this news today is really bullish for the AI trade when it comes to Amazon, says that trade is still on, even if they were behind at some point, shows that they do have plenty of time to catch up. It underlines a lot of confidence as well as in Anthropic from Amazon. It has been their horse in this AI race. And it's not just a cloud and AWS story. Yes, the point here in some ways is to drive growth for AWS. They store their data on Amazon's cloud. So that's one big flywheel effect. But Amazon is also going to be using their chips. So Amazon designs these NVIDIA competitors. They're called Trainium chips, and they're going to be a big part of this. One part of the agreement is that they use these chips to train their massive foundational model. So that is another key thing to watch. Anthropic, though, is really nipping at the heels of OpenAI. This funding battle is heating up, and that's one way that these startups compete, is just on cash. You've got Microsoft investing more than $10 billion in Anthropic, so it does let them compete on more of an even playing field. So interesting stuff, Kel, but that's kind of where we are as of this morning.
And Amazon shares are actually fractionally lower. Kate, it's interesting. Deirdre, why is Google down again today?
Probably on the antitrust threat. We really saw shares plummet yesterday, and I think some of that is continued. I think it's probably less about this Anthropic deal because, similar to what Kate said, people I talk to say that Anthropic is plan A for Amazon, but it's more of a plan B for Google because Google already has a lot of the ingredients that you need in the generative AI arms race. It has distribution. It has the researchers through DeepMind. It also has hardware. And I think that makes this race really interesting because the investments from mega caps into these AI darlings, they always come with strings attached. In this case, Amazon is saying that AWS is now the primary trainer for the next models. Someone I spoke to questioned that and said, are they going to be moving off Google? That doesn't seem to be the case because Anthropic does still use Google Cloud. It uses Google TPUs. So it'll be interesting to see how Google answers back with this. But again, Kelly, the stakes are lower because it has a lot of its own ingredients needed for Gen AI, whereas, as Kate said, Amazon really is betting on Anthropic, but it does come at a time when Google is sort of down on the count, right? All of these antitrust threats are weighing not just on the search business, but could also impact how Google is able to compete in the generative AI race.
For sure. Justin, let me bring you in on that. It's my understanding, so the Department of Justice had suggested Google sell Chrome, but Google itself is going to come up with alternative suggestions for how to kind of meet this. What do we call, for how to basically change its business model? Or, I mean, selling Chrome doesn't get to the problem that it seems the courts had with Google. So what do you think that they might propose?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me on, Kelly. I think overall, you're going to see a much more benign response from Google in December, much less aggressive changes that they would have to make. The trial will be in April and decision next summer, and then probably Google will appeal. So we won't get a final decision for a couple of years, but I think Google's response will be, no asset sales and a much less aggressive proposal, and they'll hash it out in court next year. So a long process. Never had a breakup in our investment history, including the Microsoft case. So a lot of room to go before we get a final decision.
Do you think that this sell-off in the shares makes sense, or is it an opportunity?
We definitely think it's an opportunity. What they're doing with AI overviews is very interesting, and I think they'll have an opportunity to better monetize search next year. There's a lot of cost cutting that they're doing. Their headcount growth is much lower than revenue growth, so you're going to have some margin improvement. And a lot can change with the new DOJ leadership next year. So I think the case will take a lot of twists and turns between now and sentiment's pretty negative at this point.
I love the AI overviews, actually. I find them very useful. Justin, here's my question. So I've seen analysts, and maybe you're among them, saying the usefulness will actually help people use Google search more than they might have otherwise done. That could be a fill-up to results next year. And that they also think it could help with the ad click-through rates. Can you just explain how it would help with ad click-through rates when it is much harder to even see an ad with these AI overviews than it was in the past?
Sure. I think Google is suggesting usage is increasing, and as people get more familiar with the format, it's even increasing more. On the monetization side, about 60% of Google clicks, Google searches are zero-click searches. So they have a significant percentage of searches that have no monetization currently. AI overviews gives you a much broader answer area. And second, people interact with it more, so more queries per search. And I think with that broader landscape in search results, those zero-click searches will start seeing more ads and probably have better click-through rates on ads going forward. So again, 60% of searches have no clicks, and I think that can shrink with AI overviews over time.
But just a final question on that, and I promise I'll move on. But do you think then we're going to see ads into or next to the AI overview as opposed to just further down the page?
Yeah, they can put links on the right side, or they can integrate small text ads or maybe even picture ads within the overviews. It takes up quite a bit of real estate if you see them, maybe 6 or 7 lines, and there is opportunity to integrate ads in there.
Interesting. A little like picture pop-ups or something. Okay, I'm tracking. I can see now maybe if they get this form factor right. Deirdre, what would you add to that?
Justin, I would push back a little bit, right? Because while what we got from the DOJ is pretty radical in the words of Google, even if a little bit of it happens, especially the stuff around data, and data is well and truly the gold of the generative AI era, how might that affect its position to compete in this race? Things like sharing data, that would give competitors like OpenAI, which has been reported maybe looking at developing its own browser. How would that position? And do you think that investors might be complacent on that point?
For sure, the DOJ proposals will be very detrimental to search results. We don't think that'll be the final outcome, by the way, but those were pretty detrimental. 10-year sharing data with potential AI and other competitors would not be positive for search. So we'll see where this case goes, but I think you're right. If you just look at the proposals, those would be negative for Google, but we don't think that's the final outcome.
And Kate, just finally to turn back to Amazon, how are they expecting to use Anthropic technology, if that's at all where the conversation is going? How are they deploying AI? Is it to optimize ad load in their own kind of verticals on the website? Is it just simply that they benefit from all the cloud compute, obviously, that if they just kind of let Anthropic do its own thing, that it can ultimately support? Which direction do they go?
I would say, Kelly, the biggest benefit would be to the bottom line when it comes to spending on cloud and chips. So that's where you're going to see it flow back through to Amazon. They offer Claude, which is sort of the ChatGPT competitor, to AWS customers. But if you think about the shopping experience, they've got their own proprietary, it's called Rufus, is sort of the AI experience when you go and shop on Amazon. So their bet has been that they're sort of going to be the agnostic third-party provider. And they've said that, they have not said this in particular about these getting commoditized, but the worry, the bear case for a lot of these large language models is that they're going to get commoditized. Amazon is sort of positioned, if that is the case, to say, all right, we don't really care who's the winner. We're going to give you access to everybody. So that's been seen different ways depending on who you ask, but that's really been their play here. They're going to give you access to everything. I would say one last point on Amazon, the regulatory environment. So they have been really hamstrung by, you think of the iRobot deal. They have not been able to do a lot of M&A. There is an appetite from Wall Street for Amazon to go out and do more deals on AI. So this is one way to get into that. They're not getting a board seat. They're not getting any sort of control over Anthropic. But folks I'm talking to would say it's something to look out for when it comes to Amazon. They have a lot of cash on the balance sheet. There are plenty of AI startups out there. You might see some sort of acqui-hire. You might see more deals, but it's something to watch going into next year, guys.
All right, good stuff. Kate Rooney, Deidre Bosa, and BofA's Justin Post. Thank you all very much. We appreciate it.